Then, Duke Carlisle Haven. The story starts when the royal family and nobles were shocked by the unexpected answer of Asha Pervaz, who chose the highest-ranked noble among eligible bachelors. Prince Carlisle Haven, who had recently been stripped of his crown prince title, became the Duke of Carlisle Haven, an unmarried man with the highest rank on the list of nobles. The emperor couldn't believe his ears and asked again, "What did you say? Who?" Carlisle is expressing his frustration with trivial matters. He sighs, causing everyone to believe she will die. Asha, in a frozen atmosphere, insists, threatening the royal family to pay the alimony if he refuses to accept the marriage. Since the Duke of Haven did not actually exist yet, the family that had to pay alimony for Carlisle's refusal to marry was the Evaristo family, the Imperial family, and as Carlisle watched, his mood immediately changed. He bursts into laughter in a quiet hall, causing the Emperor, Empress, and nobles to watch. Asha Pervaz, who was the only one with a calm expression, watched the spectacle that unfolded. This was the climax of a tragicomedy. And this tragedy began when the trumpet of victory, which no one expected, sounded in Pervaz, the land abandoned by the emperor. Asha, exhausted from the battle, questioned if it was over. She had just heard the sounds of the Lure people's curses. Her bruised cheek and bloodied hand revealed the head of Rakmusha, the chieftain of the Lure tribe. Her right hand meant Derek called out to her, and Asha finally realized it was over. Derek chuckled, confirming that she had ended the battle. After a 30-year war, Pervaz, a northern Chadian territory, faced constant attacks from barbarians and monsters. King Pervaz surrendered to the Chad Empire, but Asha claimed it was not part of the Imperial land. Derek questions Asha about receiving compensation from the Imperial family for the Lure people's expulsion from Pervaz. Asha explains that the emperor promised compensation for the Lure people's removal, but Derek questions the validity of this promise. Asha finds a document granting Pervaz territory and a dispatch order in the vault, causing her distress. Asha finds a sentence in a decorative phrase promising rewards for hard work and sacrifice. Derek doubts the Imperial family's commitment to the 30-year-old expedition order, which was originally intended to kill Asha's father, Amir. Asha expects compensation from the emperor, but her expectations are reversed, and the emperor demands Asha to choose her own husband instead of paying the reward he promised her father after fighting the Lure's tribe. The king questions Asha if Amir did really died in battle, expressing shame and disdain. He mentions that all his brothers are dead, and Asha is left to become a margrave. She was mocked at the king's feast as the barbarian princess. The king confidently announces and offers her a perfect reward for her victory. He will let her choose her husband and receives the prize for her victory. Asha chooses Duke Carlisle Haven, knowing the emperor is avoiding her sons from marrying a barbarian woman. If the emperor's family opposes, they must pay alimony. The emperor digs his own grave, and Duke Haven laughs. Duke Haven accepts the marriage proposal. Asha is shocked and expresses her desire for money, not a husband. He reassures Asha that his father's promise is unrevocable. The crowd murmurs anxiously, and Duke Haven accepts Asha's offer. Duke Haven, enjoying his coffee, hears footsteps approaching from behind. He sees Asha, uncertain about his call. Asha addresses him as Crown Prince, addressing him as he is no longer the Crown Prince. Prince Duke Haven, who lost his crown, spoke if she was aware about his scandalous actions, including breaking into his father's concubine's bedroom. Asha and her team arrived in the capital city, where people were buzzing with gossip about Duke Haven's indiscretions. She muttered sarcasm, implying that people in the capital have time to go after other people's women. Asha lingers on Duke Haven for a moment before turning away. Duke Haven noticed Asha's intense gaze and asked her. Asha admired Duke's physique and admitted to envying his. Duke Haven was surprised by Asha's straightforwardness and unique perspective on physicality. Duke Haven and Asha discussed their agreement, giving a deal to have a marriage for 3 years. He was offered by the emperor a chance to reinstate him as crown if he dedicates 3 years to the empire and repents of his arrogance. He added that they will divorce after the 3-year contract, but in that period, she should not meddle on his work for Pervaz. He will also not treat her like a wife and she should not turn against him. Asha's mind races as she tries to process everything happening. Asha fears leaving Pervaz to Duke Haven's whims, but eventually agrees to protect her people from starvation. Despite initial reluctance, she is determined to work together to save Pervaz. Duke Haven and Asha discuss contract writing, with Asha seeking a specific contract. Duke Haven appreciates skepticism, and they get what they need, leaving the room laughing. Lionel Bailey, Duke Haven's companion, is hesitant about their contract and questions the crown princess candidates. Duke assures him it's a means to an end, despite concerns about marrying a barbarian. The Duke recounts his 15 years' battles and triumphs, despite his stepmother's wishes. He returns to the palace, wearing a blood-stained headdress, and is envied by Empress Beatrice and Matthias, who are determined to make her son crown prince. Viviana Rowley recounts a terrifying ordeal to the king, who opens her bedroom door in the middle of the night, which is the crown prince Carlisle, but he intervenes, claiming someone is plotting to frame him. The king's anger is ignited, and he deprives Haven of the title of crown prince. He whispers bitterly to himself about the Empress's plan to eliminate him, the emperor's mistress, and everything that offended her at once. Lionel Bailey agreed, but at the same time still intrigued by the barbaric woman, but Duke Haven reveals he has met her before. He remembered what happened a few days ago. Lionel is intrigued by the story of Crown Prince Carlisle, who is stripped of his title by the Empress. He is disguised as a commoner, and bandits intercept him, causing trouble. Suddenly, 2 people intervenes, which Asha is one of them. She knocks out the leader of the bandits with a single punch. The leader is shocked and the remaining 2 thugs turn their attention to Asha, who is preparing to attack. Carlisle admires Asha's impressive skills and wonders if she is truly a warrior. Carlisle thanks Asha and Decker for their help, but instead of accepting a gift, she asks for a cheap inn to stay at. They are on the verge of camping on the streets, and Carlisle offers his assistance. He reveals that it was thanks to him for helping her wash at the inn before entering the palace, or else she will be called a beggar. Lionel Bailey and Carlisle discuss the bright side of Asha and her willpower in rebuilding Pervaz. He was happy knowing there's no better wife than her since she's not interested on the crown princess position. Asha told her arranged to crown prince, but Decker questions her decision. She reassures him that it is worth it, and she shows her gold coins will bring prosperity to their barren lands. Her friends agree, realizing her strength and selflessness. Decker inquires about the wedding date. Asha told him that it won't be a big ceremony. They plan to go to Pervaz after the vows, and Decker wonders how long it will take for an imperial marriage. Asha's friend worries about Pervaz starving to death. Asha and Carlisle are preparing for their wedding. She asks when is their wedding, feeling a sense of urgency. She is eager to finish the event quickly while he asks if she has a lover in Pervaz as she was rushing to him, but she assures him she doesn't and told him that the people of Pervaz was waiting for her. Asha is eager to return home after a long journey. She emerges from her dressing room in front of Carlisle, looking perfect in her attire. The prince froze as he stares at her radiant form. She was surprised by Carlisle's reaction and insists it's the most comfortable dress for an imperial wedding. He gave a diamond necklace for her to wear. Carlisle realizes that despite his criticisms, he sees her as a warrior woman with strength and beauty. Carlisle Haven, who was happily looking at his wife, realizes she's eager to go home and deal with her affairs. He can't let her go easily, so he kisses her, while Asha became shocked. She bites Carlisle's lip, while he pretends to be in pain. She asks him to behave, but Duke Haven says he just wanted to dispel boredom. Gabriel, slightly disgruntled, reports that His Highness must be pure in both body and soul, as the Lord is now watching them. After the ceremony, Asha changes her clothes and informs Decker that she needs to stay in the capital for a while longer. She asks her team to go home first for deliveries and for Decker to take care of suitable quarters in Castle for Carlisle Haven. The Crown Prince Knights followed them and the excited people wondered who they were. Decker tried to explain that their mistress had decided to marry a prince and explained that it was an arrangement, and in 3 years, they would divorce. The castle staff and the rest of the people couldn't believe this. At a tea party with Carlisle Haven and his brother and the Emperor, Mathios learns he will be responsible for the defense of the south of the Empire and questions why he must defend these territories. But Carlisle explains that he is the current heir now and had no other duties. He only needs to eliminate monsters that appear twice a year. The Emperor and his agitated brother looked at each other. They realized the plan to exile Carlisle Haven was a mistake, as Carlisle had gone to other lands. The Emperor wanted to discuss the requested budget instead. The Emperor questioned the Duke's moving expenses and dowry, which he believed were too much for his son's needs. His brother butt in and argued that 50 million was too much for Pervaz and should take in 1 million only. Carlisle explained that Pervaz, who had taken 28 years to defeat his enemies, asked his brother if he knew how much had been destroyed and how long it would take to rebuild. He advised his brother to study harder and reported that the Emperor had a lot to explain to his successor and had to learn in just one night what Carlisle Haven had been doing for years. Carlisle Haven left, leaving his brother unprepared and worried. A man suggests that Carlisle Haven and Asha Pervaz should work together, surprising Carlisle Haven, who thought he would be against their marriage. The Viscount, who had been Carlisle Haven's advisor, was introduced to Asha. The man is worried about His Highness, who lost the title of prince in his absence, and asks Asha what she knows about Carlisle. She informs them that Carlisle Haven is the crown prince and the best knight in the empire. The man added that also His Highness has the blessing from above. The temple prophesied that Carlisle Haven would prove the prophecy when he grew up, but he was dissatisfied with revoking his title and falsely accused of wanting to possess the emperor's favorite mistress. Asha was surprised because she thought that the accusations were true. He also warns that the Empress and the second prince will defame His Highness's reputation, requiring Asha to protect Carlisle Haven. She promises to protect the man day and night, but Carlisle is confident that he can defend himself. The Viscount thanks Asha Pervaz as His Highness can move far away and build up his power without being caught by the Imperial family. Asha's role in politics is crucial for his protection. Asha Pervaz asked Carlisle if he is planning for a coup that would threaten her lands. He answered that he will not do it, but rather concerned about the Empress's increased influence. The Viscount is obliged to restore the prince's rights, while Asha Pervaz promises to protect him and preserve his throne claim. When the time comes, they will file for divorce and go separate ways. Asha is excited about the boxes being shipped to Pervaz. Carlisle Haven asks if she likes looking at the scale, which she finds impressive. She is surprised by the size and the prince's belief in her words. She carefully examines one sack of greens and realizes that if they could plant these, her homeland could be enriched. She realizes with embarrassment that she made the right decision. They decided stopped at night to camp from the capital. A servant knocked on the carriage and informed Carlisle Haven and Asha Pervaz that he had taken their things into the Duke's tent. Asha would want to sleep in separate tent, but the Duke calmly reminded her not to forget that they were now officially married. She contemplates rumors that the prince is sleeping with many women when he was in battlefield. She wonders if he doesn't care about sharing a tent with someone like her, as they are only married on paper. Asha reflects on her past experiences sleeping next to men in the open during war, which should be no problem. Asha is making a bed on the floor while Carlisle is uncomfortable. He asked if she really will sleep on the floor, but Asha informs him that it was already a luxury to her since she was used to sleeping on her coat. Carlisle wants to tease her and see her expression, requesting her to help him dress as his wife and/or at least a temporary assistant. He was surprised by Asha's calmness and didn't expect that she will not be affected by his naked body and thought to himself that maybe it's because they are only contractually married. He was a prince admired by other men due to his good body and can conquer any girl. However, he thought that he might only admired by other men on the battlefield. He is then asked what is bothering him, but he just answered that he's feeling sick and lies quietly on his bed. Asha considers having a poor job compared to a trained servant, recognizing it as an unpleasant reaction from the prince. After calmly lying on her bed, she contemplates their future relationship, believing that if it were to be like this, there should be no difficulties. She also believes that Carlisle, who has slept with many women, would not be interested in someone like her. Carlisle Haven was really surprised by Asha's comfort on the floor with only thin blanket. She explained that she was used to sleeping on a cloak on the ground, which she considered luxurious. He asked her homeland and the coldness in the winter. She answered that many people is worried about freezing to death or losing parts of their bodies due to the cold, but Carlisle Haven laughs at her, causing her to think that it might be acceptable in the capital to laugh at someone else's words. The prince asked about Asha's father's military skills, and she revealed that the emperor secretly wanted her father dead. He sent him to harsh places, and despite knowing his intentions, he chose to avoid death. Asha's father remained determined and prepared the people to fight the barbarians, despite threats. Carlisle believed Asha's father was devoted to his people and nation, and he believed he should continue fighting to save them. However, he realized that Asha was also devoted to her people and nation, making the emperor pay for her victory through her insolence. Carlisle asked about her brothers, but she didn't answer due to exhaustion. The second prince, who was outraged, asked his mother if she wanted him to fight instead of his brother. She informed him that he wouldn't even take a step on the battlefield. The Empress smiled and told her son that she already had a plan. Asha and Carlisle had arrived at Pervaz's territory, where the Duke reveals it's worse than expected. He's worried about the quality of roads after a long war, as they've been there for a long time and everything is not as it should be, with mud fields and no people. She was asked by the prince how much she was expecting to set up the place. She answered that she will need 500,000 on food, medicine, and recovery. Carlisle explained that the amount was not enough to survive the winter, but he congratulates her on her opportunity as he'd take much money to be used for the recovery of Pervaz. Asha and Carlisle arrived in Pervaz, feeling weary and concerned about once thriving land. They crossed the border and found no civilization, leaving Asha heartbroken by the ruins and broken people. He asks Asha about the amount she planned to receive from his father. She answered that she was expecting 500,000, but Carlisle argued that it is not enough to rebuild Pervaz. Carlisle laughs and told her that she is lucky she had him. Asha is filled with admiration and she nods with determination to use the money for food and medicine. Asha and Carlisle arrived at the castle. Asha was feeling both proud and apprehensive as she saw her people. She gave the second floor to Carlisle, which is usually reserved for the ruling lord and his family. Carlisle asked his friend Lionel to move his stuff to the second floor. Duke Haven's people were looking strange with Asha when Decker asks Asha to take a look at her room on the first floor. Asha is surprised by the lavishly adorned room, which is filled with flowers and a sense of excitement. She is hesitant to sleep in a room with flowers, but she is touched by the headmaid's efforts to create a comfortable bed. Asha appreciates the room and flowers placed by the headmaid, symbolizing the end of the war. She talks to Della, a strong maid, which suggested to have a proper maid for her as to maintain a proper household and avoid Carlisle people to find fault on Asha. Asha expresses gratitude for the dedicated staff and she is confident in their supervision and plans to unpack Prince Carlisle's belongings tomorrow. She talked with Decker discussing the behavior of Carlisle people against her. In the day after tomorrow, Carlisle and his friend Lionel discuss the arrangements for newly arrived supplies to Pervaz. They send a full month's rations with the first arrivals, and was surprised that Asha's people didn't steal a penny. Carlisle expresses concerns about an alliance with Countess Pervaz, but they can't say they won't betray them. He asks Lionel to investigate important people in Pervaz, especially Decker. In the palace, Carlisle's stepmother and Gabriel engage in a conversation. Gabriel greets the Empress while she thanks Gabriel and expresses her desire to discuss the future of the empire. Gabriel is attentive and would be honored to have a moment with her. After receiving supplies from the capital, the city of Pervaz began to improve gradually. Asha assessed the progress and received gratitude from a villager. She and her friend Decker, who had faced hardships, distributed rations and repaired communal ovens. Asha was concerned about the long-term stability of her people and the risk of running out of supplies. Asha is surprised to see massive logs stacked neatly in the courtyard of Pervaz, indicating that Prince Carlisle has purchased the northern surplus timber. She wonders about the origin of this and wonders if he bought it on his way back to Pervaz. She appreciates the Duke's gesture and is willing to do whatever he wants if he makes her dreams come true. Asha visits Carlisle, expressing gratitude for his assistance. The Duke informs her he has given her money and materials but hasn't heard her plans. Carlisle is surprised by Asha's enthusiasm and wonders if she stole the money, possibly keeping a double ledger. Duke Carlisle is intrigued by Asha's detailed plans for rebuilding the Pervaz, despite her enthusiasm for the supplies. Carlisle was surprised for her character and commitment for the reconstruction of Pervaz. He asked if she kept anything for herself. Asha confesses to Carlisle that she is planning to sell her wedding ring and necklace, which he had given her after they divorce. Carlisle reflects on his feelings of surprise and hurt, unsure of how Asha would have made such a plan. He feels a mix of disbelief and resignation, as he cannot help but feel a pang of disappointment that the necklace he gave her held no value in Pervaz. Carlisle's stepmother and High Priest Gabriel discuss Carlisle's curse and the possibility of destroying the empire. The Empress asked his support and suggests her son, Matthias, as a potential successor. Gabriel agrees, but want her to make the Chad Empire a holy empire. The Empress asks for time as she will consider it. Gabriel told her that it may take time to consider with the gods. Lionel questions his concerns about the servants' attitude towards the castle of Pervaz. He explains that their lack of reverence may upset Countess Pervaz. Carlisle instructs their servants not to leave their territory, and reassures him that it is more important to keep a close eye on the nobles in the capital. Nina, Asha's maid, is scolded by Carlisle maid as she didn't recognize her place and didn't recognize superiority as she was His Highness maid who is higher from Countess Pervaz. She apologizes but became angry for badmouthing the Countess. Mrs. Lemire intervenes, reminding Nina that she serves the Countess of Pervaz and her strength comes from her people's unity and resilience. Mrs. Lemire approached Decker to discuss a troubling situation. She revealed that Prince Carlisle's maid insulted Lady Pervaz, and Decker was shocked. Mrs. Lemire expressed concern that if they didn't address the issue, it could escalate into something bigger. He threatened to tell Asha, stating that Prince Carlisle is not to tolerate such disrespectful behavior. Countess Pervaz enters the room, expressing seriousness. Asha is angry and asks Carlisle to check his servants who is disturbing hers. Carlisle tries to understand her anger, but believes his servants wouldn't say anything wrong. She asks Sir Lionel Bailey to bring her the contract, and they both read it together. Asha told him that they may humiliate her but not her people. She demands that the people of Pervaz be treated with respect and dignity, as she believes that turning against them will make it difficult to achieve his goals. Carlisle is surprised by Asha's gravity of words. He challenges Asha if what she will do if he doesn't heed her words. Asha looked at him with cold eyes and told him to take care of himself as there is no cure for being bitten by a wild dog. Carlisle is impressed by Asha's strength and determination, and commands Lionel to gather the servants. The servants, eagerly awaiting Prince Carlisle's announcement, were filled with tension. Asha, surprised by Carlisle's authority, wondered if this was his way of accepting her as his wife or merely an attempt to protect and care for her. As accused servants stepped forward, their guilt became evident. One servant spoke up defiantly and denied their involvement, claiming they were teaching them some manners. The maid tried to shift blame onto Asha and her people from Pervaz, but she continued to question if anything was the people from Pervaz who were provoking them. Carlisle asks them who is her wife and accuses them of slandering the Imperial family. Carlisle turned to Lionel to execute the servants for slandering the Imperial family. The tension grows among the servants, who plead for mercy. Asha intervenes and questions about cutting out their tongues, expressing her desire for mutual respect between her people and Carlisle people. Carlisle sighs deeply as he finally understands her perspective. Asha emphasized the importance of mutual understanding and support in Pervaz, despite differences. She urged servants to not look down on them, as their humble lifestyle demonstrates their commitment to the empire. Carlisle, feeling proud, praised her, but warned them of no second chance. Asha leaned closer to Carlisle, whispering in his ear about his servants' heads and tongues. Carlisle smiled and suggested they share a meal to celebrate a happy resolution. Asha rejected and turned away, leaving Carlisle to wonder how he would convince her to have dinner with him. Priest Gabriel and Carlisle's stepmother discuss their thoughts on Prince Matthias' future as emperor. She cautiously accepts Gabriel's condition and reveals that Carlisle left for Pervaz, a distant city where the Imperial family held no authority. Gabriel ponders her words and reassures her that the gods would recognize her piety when the time comes. There were farmers who were happily talking about their harvest month and excited to reap what they planted, when suddenly, they noticed a thunderstorm in the distance. They thought that it would rain, but they became anxious when they saw the dark clouds and found it weird. An old man was trembling, remembering what happened 28 years ago. A man shouted that it is an attack and the barbarians are coming. The old man commands them to go to caves while he will alert their lord. Carlisle was commenting about Pervaz becoming stable. He asked his secretary if it was to be expected now since they have enough supplies and money. The man answered him that the real reason for stability is the presence of Margrave Pervaz. Carlisle agreed to him and asked Decker to exceed his expectations as he was a capable man. His secretary added that it's not only Decker Donovan but also all Pervaz people are extraordinary. Carlisle debunked how the capital perceives Pervaz, where people possess honor and conviction, things that bug cities lack. His secretary handed him a letter from Margrave Dupret. The letter sent talked about the Dupret proof of loyalty will be sent to them soon. Carlisle thinks that Cecilia was certain that he would divorce Margrave Pervaz. Cecilia is a strong candidate for a crown princess who has high ambitions just like her father. The man asks him if he will accept Cecilia as his crown princess, but he thinks that there is no way because Cecilia is like her mother who has high ambitions. Carlisle was asked if he has a heart for Lady Dupret, but he was shocked to hear it and denies it as he only danced with her because she was the most convenient option and added that Cecilia doesn't like him, it is the crown that she likes. He changed the topic by asking that the Dupret family didn't mention what their proof of loyalty would be. Carlisle has a feeling that they're going to do something crazy. The two were shocked by the loud voice shouting that there was an attack. Asha was talking to Decker about the barbarians' attack. She was relieved that the barbarians don't seem to be many. They were in bad shape and their numbers were reduced and weapons were non-existent. Decker asked her if she wanted to get help from Carlisle even if it meant to swallow her pride. She asked what makes he thinks she was doing it out of pride. He immediately apologized. She didn't blame him, but he failed to consider the implications for asking someone's help, and if they asked for help for something trivial, they won't be able to maintain an equal relationship with him. If that happens and gives them an order, they cannot disobey him even if they were sent to their deaths. Asha believed that they'll take out the Graham tribe with themselves and told him that she would inform His Highness Carlisle. She arrives at Carlisle's chamber and asks her what brings her to him urgently. She revealed that the Graham tribe has invaded their territory and she needs to head out and kill them. He asked what help he could offer. She replied that if she did, Carlisle should assume the position of the border commander and assume the duties and responsibilities that come with the title. Carlisle asked that she sounds like someone who's thinking about dying, but she added that if she many children with another woman in the future, she would like to bestow one of his children the title of Margrave Pervaz. He was puzzled by what she said about another woman. Asha swears upon him that she will slay all those who threaten the safety of the land and His Highness Carlisle. Carlisle commented that she is not romantic at all, Anyone would think they weren't a couple, but he approached her and kissed her forehead to give his blessing. While Asha is preparing for battle, Carlisle asks his secretary about their knight on standby. He answered that they will be the backup, while Carlisle was excited to witness if Asha is really the one that beheaded the Lure chieftain. The battle began by Asha's command, attacking the enemies with arrows. They seemed to be shocked as they didn't know that Pervaz have arrows to be used in the battle. The secretary pointed Asha with shocked as she was heading by herself on a flock of enemies. Even Carlisle was surprised and worried, and wondering why would the commander ride out in front, which is totally a suicide. The secretary asked if they would send their knights out before something really bad happens. But Carlisle disagreed as Asha didn't ask for him to help as if she had a plan. Asha charged to the front line to aim for the Graham tribe's leader and reminded him about how she managed to behead the Lure chieftain. She successfully killed him and attacked more enemies while grinning. Carlisle thought that she was crazy and understood now why she wasn't interested in jewelry, because it was useless in the face of death. He was amazed by her excellent fighting skills and brilliant tactics, though she's using a dangerous yet effective way to eliminate the enemies. There is no question now that she really defeated the Lure chieftain, and he became excited to join her in the battle. He now understands that it is the reason Asha didn't ask for his help, and it is to show him how it's done. He noticed that the rearguard of the enemies were approaching and decided not to sit back anymore and commanded his secretary to prepare their knights. He was happy to help his wife clean the mess. Asha was shocked to know that the enemy's rearguard were coming and discovered that the Graham tribe's rearguard were hiding on the mountain, and she can't believe they climbed up the mountain just for this. They were exhausted by defending their walls when Asha heard that their reinforcement was arriving. She was shocked to see Carlisle and his knights joining the battle. She told Decker to inform Carlisle to take care of the enemy's rearguard, while he was happy to know that the Crown Prince is really a nice guy. Asha attacked the enemies while they were afraid to continue when they saw Asha's reinforcement. The Graham tribe retreated, expecting that they would surround Pervaz within a day. That night, Asha was glad that they didn't have a large loss as Crown Prince Carlisle intervened. She informs Decker that she will go to Carlisle to thank him, while Decker was worried, hoping Carlisle doesn't ask for too much. She told him not to worry too much. Carlisle asked her to take a seat while she didn't move an inch, bow her head and thank him for what he did. He was upset, telling her that she only intended to thank him then leave immediately. He asked her if she really didn't like having tea. Asha explained that it is not the reason. She only thought to say thank you and apologizing quickly would be better. Carlisle prefers to have a conversation because it's fun and asks her again to have some tea. She accepted his offer to drink tea while Carlisle asked her if she was upset. Asha was confused and asked him why he thought she was upset. Carlisle explained that he acted upon his own volition even though she didn't ask for his help, and wondered if she was upset. Asha was wondering why he's thinking like that as someone who comes to help her. She answered she wasn't upset and accepted that she was arrogant, that without his help, they would have suffered a lot. Carlisle asked if she really went to battle prepared to die, while she asked him if there were any warriors who didn't go to the battlefield prepared to die. He answered that he didn't and was shocked to see her leave a will behind, and how could she give her husband permission to have an affair. Carlisle asks if she wouldn't want her own children to succeed in her title. Asha replied that it isn't necessary to have her offspring, it just has to be someone with a sense of responsibility. Carlisle asked her again that wouldn't it be unfair to have someone else steal the title her father and brother have sacrificed to gain such honor, but she insisted that her father didn't receive the title as reward but given just only two options, and those were to give his own life or face the Lure tribe with his life. She also added that she doesn't want Pervaz to be treated as a place of exile anymore because the people of Pervaz have committed no crime. Carlisle praised Asha's army to be strong, but she insisted that without his help, they would have suffered a huge loss. After meeting Carlisle, she was wondering if he really heaped them without strings attached, or he wanted to make her feel indebted to him. At the Imperial Palace, the Empress had received a report about Pervaz raided by barbarians. Prince Matthias told her that those barbarians were wiped out, The Empress were thankful that the raid was a failure, but the Prince Aked, why should they be thankful? He reminded her that they should drag Carlisle out from Pervaz, so he wouldn't go to his post on the battlefield. The Empress assured him that she knew how to remove Carlisle power by creating another war for Pervaz. Matthias was confused because it will only help his brother to hunt down barbarians, but her mother explained that creating such war to Pervaz will cause the nobles not to visit Carlisle. Their supply will be cut off and their information will be restricted. She was also hoping Carlisle will be shot by arrows and tap Matthias' shoulder, reminding not to be afraid. If he becomes the crown prince, there's no way they would send him to dangerous battlegrounds. She also added that in order to erase Carlisle's existence, they need to drag him to the capital by working with High Priest Gabriel. Back to Pervaz Castle, Asha was summoned by Carlisle. She asked the reason for the summon and was greeted by a big smile from him and explained that since they were supposed to be a couple, they should spend time together. While Asha was wondering what he was thinking, Carlisle was offended by her reaction and questioned her if she really did hate spending time with him, but Asha disagreed. She asked him if he really thought that because they were a couple, they should spend time together. Carlisle told her that it's already been 3 months since he came to Pervaz, but they haven't talked much at all, and added that it was odd for a married couple. Asha agreed while he asked to give him a tour around the Pervaz castle. While walking around, she discovered that some parts of her castle are in bad shape. She explained that because of the war, they couldn't afford to maintain the castle and sold or burned the furniture to get through winter. Carlisle was shocked to know the reason. Asha continued to tell him the story how they survived the winter with less warrior and explained that it may rude to Carlisle, but she believes her father is blessed by God because even though they were outnumbered by barbarians, they still stood up and protect Pervaz. Carlisle didn't deny it and reveals that he has utmost respect for her father as a knight, so much that it was a pity that the first royalty he ever met was his father. She can't believe that someone from Imperial family would say that. Carlisle told her that he find it weird that no painting of her father and brother is hanging on the wall. She reminded him that they were in war for 28 years, and they have no time to have a portrait, and no artist would want to go to Pervaz knowing they might die. Carlisle realized it, but insisted on having a portrait for them as a married couple to be displayed in the castle, but she was confused why he would want that. He was flabbergasted to Asha's reaction and answered her that she should have something to remember him and told her that he will not forgive her if she burn the portrait. Asha was asking herself if he will think of her whenever he sees her portrait, but conclude that there's no way he will do that. A high priest Owen started the meeting concerning Carlisle going to Pervaz, while the other was concerned to do something and questioned Carlisle's way of living against him being blessed by God. Not only did he wallow in a woman, distance himself from the temple, and worst of all, he coveted his father's mistress. Gabriel was thinking it is not only Carlisle but the nobles of the empire who are all arrogant, who cruelly trampled the poor and weak. He was saved by Elohim, where he learned the God's word that people are not to be distinguished by birth, status, and wealth, and that the empire was being destroyed by these nobles. Only by building a clean and upright empire can they set the nation right. He answered that no matter what happened, they will establish the Holy Empire, and in order to it, they have to cooperate with the Empress and place Prince Matthias to the throne. To do this, they have to promote Prince Matthias while ruining Prince Carlisle's public image. Several days later, Cecilia Duprat is traveling to Pervaz while she remembers her conversation with her brother. Her brother is questioning her decision going to Pervaz, as if she became crazy as there was no such thing as high society there. Cecilia angrily answered him that she was doing it to become the crown princess. Her brother told her who would ever fall in love with a ruthless woman like her. This statement boils her blood more, realizing that they were only saying those words because they were born men and can inherit a title, and they would never understand the life of a woman. This encourages her more to make Carlisle the emperor and become his empress, because that is the only path available to her. A man reminded Carlisle about the proof of loyalty that the Duprat family will send, and that it just arrived in Pervaz. Upon opening the door, A beautiful woman popped up in front of Carlisle, which surprised him and asked what brought her to that place. She reminded what her father stated in the letter. She was the proof of loyalty the Duprat family sent and will assist him return to the throne. He asked what she could do to help him, while she asked if he was aware of the dovetail, which is the largest breeding center for carrier pigeons, which is the fastest way to receive and gather information, and explained that she is one of the best trainers at dovetail. Carlisle was shocked to know the truth and thought of her as a truly great use. Cecilia continues that it will be hard for him to know the situation to the capital, and she relays information that there are rumors that have been spreading in the capital. There is a growing number of people comparing him to Prince Matthias in an effort to undermine him. He can't believe the news comparing him to his brother, where it is him who is being undermined. She also added that stories spreading that Prince Matthias was under the threat of assassination from a young age and resulted in him being traumatized. His secretary became enraged, as it was Prince Carlisle who had experienced those situations, not Prince Matthias. They asked her who has been spreading such false rumors. Cecilia replied that according to Dovetail's intelligence, it was the priest of Elohim. Carlisle was surprised, but she continued that High Priest Gabriel Knox wields considerable influence. Carlisle was thinking that Gabriel is up to something and thanked Lady Duprat for the valuable information. He informed her that he will prepare a room for her and introduce to Margrave Pervaz. She was flattered and thought that she will show the Margrave WH was on top. Asha showed herself and asked the reason for calling her. Carlisle apologized for calling her on such a busy day and introduced their newest castle resident. Asha was surprised to see her and answered her curiosity as to why the castle gate was opened and didn't expect an aristocrat lady to come. She gave one of the second-floor rooms while Cecilia told her not to misunderstand, but Asha cleared that she was Carlisle's guest and only natural he decided where she stayed. Carlisle asked if she is still staying in the dull room of the first floor. She answered that she never thought of it as dull and considered it lavish. Carlisle was shocked with her answer and told her that he will send furniture that he bought. She kegged the reason for this, while Carlisle explained that people may say that the Lady Duprat's room is better than her. She understands and asks to leave. He also reminded her to join him for dinner. Cecilia was very shocked at how it was no effect on Asha after seeing her as she was a candidate for crown princess and how she acted so indifferent and annoyed to Carlisle. She feels strange that they were using separate bedrooms and seems clear they have no romantic feelings. Rappelt, Carlisle's teacher, was annoyed knowing Lady Duprat entered the picture suddenly. He fully knew that Cecilia Duprat would do anything in her power to become crown princess, so he immediately sent a letter to his daughter. A few days later, Dorothea Rappelt received the letter her father sent her. She had no choice but to obey his command to go to Pervaz. Her father Giles Rappelt was said to be a genius of century and the best Academy's scholar. Thanks to that, she was able to read books whenever she wished, but her father always silences her whenever she wants to express her opinion, reminding her that a woman will only remain unloved if she acts lofty. She felt wronged every time she heard those words, but she couldn't show defiance against her father. After arriving at Pervaz, she was immediately introduced to Carlisle and explained that she will serve as his assistant. Rappelt boasts she is better than the people she taught at the academy. Carlisle smiled, thinking that his teacher is really an ambitious man, who immediately called his daughter after Cecilia arrived. He called for Asha to introduce Dorothea. When she arrived, Dorothea was amazed at her presence, greeting her with Her Highness as honorific. Asha was surprised to hear it from her. Rappelt explained to Asha that he called for his daughter to assist him. She reminded her to bring guard all the time as Pervaz is not yet safe. Dorothea thanked her while Carlisle reminded her again to join him for dinner. Carlisle was upset to see Asha not interested in his guest. Rappelt asked Dorothea the reason she called Asha as Her Highness, but she defended that ignoring Asha might leave a negative effect on the eyes of Carlisle. Rappelt shouted at her, reminding her that if she kept calling that woman Her Highness, Carlisle would begin to recognize her. She only nodded to agree with him. The next day, Asha was introduced to their new butler and asked Decker to walk around the castle. While sitting, Donovan asked Asha about the two ladies that recently came to Pervaz. She thought that they were trying to compete for the position of crown princess. Donovan was surprised, asking if they were Carlisle lovers and upset how he brought his lovers into the castle. Asha reminded him that they have a contract which they will not care what Carlisle does in the castle and they need to keep the promise as Pervaz is still thriving. She already had a feeling he would bring female guests over as he is well known for being a womanizer. Donovan asked her what she will do after the divorce, but she didn't want to worry about her but focus on his life and have a wife. Carlisle was listening to them while hiding. He became speechless and felt frustrated. He remembered what she said about him being a womanizer and feels unfair since he made her think that on purpose. He was annoyed and thinking if he is displeased to hear Asha as if she knows everything about him. He is contemplating the reason for his feelings and should not have followed them. He is wondering about the real relationship between the two and needs more information about Decker Donovan. Prince Matthias was having a tantrum urging her mother to find a way to bring Carlisle to the capital as he doesn't think they can draw out the beast extermination any longer. Matthias was supposed to accompany the Imperial Knights, but this plan flopped due to numerous excuses and opposition. Her mother calmed him down, but he was frustrated and not the time to be calm and reminded her that she wouldn't be safe if he will die. The Empress called the maid and asked for sleeping powder and pour it on Matthias' drink. The prince immediately sleeps, while the Empress commands them to send a letter to High Priest Gabriel. The Empress and Gabriel meet and discuss how the Emperor was sending Matthias to the battleground. She wants to bring Carlisle back to the capital and blame him for disregarding his duty and ask the priest for a way to drag Carlisle out of Pervaz. Gabriel recommended nullifying Carlisle's marriage while the Empress wonders the possibility of it. Gabriel assured her that they can make it possible if the couple completely neglects the responsibility of having offspring. She asks the Empress if she can retract the approval of the Imperial family. The Empress agreed and delighted with his suggestion and planted a spy to Pervaz. At Pervaz Castle, a welcome dinner was prepared for Dorothea and Cecilia. Asha was surprised to know that this area of the castle has been transformed into a beautiful one. Her and Decker were also curious about the food prepared in front of them until Cecilia explained that it was a turkey and boasted how Prince Carlisle's chef was excellent. While Carlisle was focused on cutting the huge chicken, Dorothea asked how he was able to slice the chicken through cleanly. Asha answered that it's not difficult as long as he knows the skeletal structure of the animal and added that he has probably killed several humans, so bird meat shouldn't be a problem. A man was shocked she said that in front of Carlisle while Carlisle started laughing at her statement, claiming he had sliced many humans and that turkey shouldn't be a big deal. All of them inside the dining hall become shocked by the prince's reaction while Decker was worried how Asha was preoccupied with food in her mind. Cecilia questions why Dorothea was there since Lord Raffalt was there as their family representative. Dorothea answered that her father has been busy with his duties and needs her assistance. Cecilia sarcastically questions Lord Raffalt's duties that it may seem there must be a lot of highly confidential information and asks if he is allowing Dorothea to access that. Dorothea replied that she was not and she's only helping with minor errands. Lord Raffalt told Cecilia that it was her they should be worried about handling confidential information, and questioned if they can really trust the Duppert family's dovetail. While Cecilia highlighted that the Duppert family has sworn full devotion to Prince Carlisle and her presence is the proof, but he mocked her saying she might be an abandoned card. Cecilia told him that the Duppert family has a value in high society. Decker was worried about Cecilia's remark trying to declare that she's Carlisle crown princess candidate even though Asha is present. However, Asha was focused on eating delicious food while the two ladies were fighting, exchanging well-wishing remarks with a tense atmosphere. Cecilia noticed Asha and apologized for bringing stories about their father. Asha requested not to mind her since she also enjoys talking about her father. Cecilia asked Asha about her father who was a skilled knight but ended up dying. Asha calmly answered her question that her father led the victory against the enemy's troop. As a reward, Pervaz has granted the title of Margrave. Cecilia stated that in wars, the Imperial family participates in the greatest military achievement that was attributed to them. Asha asked Carlyle if he accumulated achievement in that matter. Carlyle asks why he would want someone else in the military and not treat him like his father. Asha continues to eat after hearing Carlyle answer, while Carlyle is thinking if Asha is not concerned about Dorothea and Cecilia having a battle of wits for the crown princess position. Even Decker is aware, but she still eats and seems uninterested. Carlyle is happy that Asha is not clinging to him, but frustrated to her, thinking she should at least keep up the couple act in front of the outsiders.
In the contract, it clearly states that she is to diligently fulfill the role of a wife. He now asked Asha about the couple drawing while she remembers it. Carlyle told them that as a member of the royal family, they have to send a portrait for safekeeping. He asked Lionel about the selection of artist, while Lionel informed him that a Wilkeon artist will be arriving soon.
Dorothea noticed the displeased face of Asha and asked if she had a different artist on her mind. Asha explained that it's not the reason, but she feels that it's bothersome putting accessories and dress for several hours. Carlyle becomes speechless of what she said, but reminded her that it was her duty as a member of Imperial family, even if it's unfamiliar. She agreed with a yes. A man approached Lord Giles and informed him about a letter from the capital. He became shocked after reading it, which states that they have found a way for Carlyle to leave Pervaz through marriage nullification. Their marriage will nullified if evidence is found of neglecting their couple duties. Lord Giles becomes troubled as they have to prove that their marriage is true. Who would believe they're a couple when they look like that? Carlyle becomes angry after reading the report, knowing the Empress and High Priest Gabriel are in the same boat. He asked Toget outside for fresh air. Carlyle looked at the now livable Pervaz and inquired about the Harvest Festival. Lionel told him that Margrave Pervaz is looking forward to it. He was glad she was excited. They saw Asha and were asked the reason for them to be there. Carlyle reminded that he was her husband and wanted to see the estate's first harvest, while she thanked him for being considerate and hoped that they all enjoy the festival together while laughing. Carlyle smiled, looking at her excited face. Decker asked Asha if the festival is excessive and better to save and use it for something, but Asha explained that she wants it to be a good memory, remembering her conversation with her father. The late Margrave dreams of having a harvest festival after the war, which confirmed there will be no deaths until the harvest next year. That way, they will feel a lot more attachment to their land, wishing her father in heaven to be happy as she makes sure his dream comes true soon. Cecilia heard their conversation and realized Asha's strong sense of responsibility for Pervaz, and thought that if she wasn't a competitor for the crown princess position, they could have a fairly good relationship. At Viviana Lowry's palace, the Emperor's concubine shows her troubled face for not conceiving a child yet. She was worried about the second prince gaining more influence, which can lead to her disappearing without notice, and asked how long she should have to watch the Empress wield her stupid son's influence against her. She was furious at Carlyle sent out to Pervaz, as he would be a help to keep the Empress in check, and wished she just needed to have a child. Matthias heard the conversation of her maids about wanting to have a child. He immediately reported it to her mother, but the Empress paused for a moment and told him she needs to leave as she received the letter that Carlyle will be planning on getting a divorce soon. On the day of the Pervaz festival, everyone was amazed to see the preparations. Asha announced that this will be a very meaningful day for them that marks the day they were able to harvest crops from their own lands again, and announced that with the crown prince presence, they will hold a 2-day festival where everyone eats, drinks, dances, and sings. Asha was busy at the festival when Decker asked her to drink with him and offer a beer in front of her. They drink and have fun together while other subordinates asked her to drink until she becomes drunk and wasted. She sat on the ground, wondering what Decker would say if he saw her like this. Carlyle approached her asking how much she drank and told her a lady shouldn't drink herself senseless, and asked if the barbarian chose a time like this to attack. Asha rose up and was ready to go while Carlisle told her that he didn't mean to say it like this and hugged her, telling her he was just joking. Asha pushed him and thanked him as he is the reason for holding a harvest festival, while Carlisle jokingly asked her to shower him with kisses every time she sees him. Asha frowned, held and gerbed him and kissed him. Carlisle was shocked if she seriously kissed him because of what he said. He grabbed her, realizing how bold she is, but didn't know how to kiss. Asha fell asleep while Carlisle carried her to his room. The next day, Asha woke up with a headache and was surprised to hear Carlisle's voice. She asked what happened yesterday and realized that she was wearing a nightgown. She was bamboozled, asking herself what really happened, and asked Carlisle if they did it. Carlisle was amused to see her reaction and wanted to tease her more, thinking it was her who kissed him first. He refused to give her a great shock and told her what happened, revealing that he saw her outside her room and picked her up and brought her into his room without saying the kiss. Asha was shocked to know she slept while hosting the festival, but Carlisle assured her that her husband took care of everything. He asked if she aren't curious to know why she's wearing an unfamiliar nightgown and lying on his bed. Asha answered that he already said that nothing happened, but Carlisle begged her to fulfill the contract a little more faithfully and asked about the condition of the contract. She remembered that she must play a role as his contractual wife and breaks it until the period ends. Carlisle highlights the condition of her fulfilling her role as his contractual wife, but looking at her struck him that she seems to be taking it lightly, that anyone would tell it doesn't seem like he is his wife. She was thinking that he also never treated her as a wife. Carlisle told her that he helped her by showing that they have consummated their marriage since she slept in his room last night. She stated if it's necessary to go this far, while Carlisle confirms they should, as Matthias is doing everything to drag him back from Pervaz. He also added that the Empress is trying to nullify their marriage, and if the marriage becomes nullified, he will have to take back the money he invested in Pervaz and return to the palace. Since it has become known that they shared the same bed, it will be hard for the Empress to use that card. They just need to spread what happened. Asha affirmed his plan since they were just pretending, and thought that it was the least she can do for him, while Carlisle told her not to get the wrong idea. No matter how sweet he is on the outside, she must not think that he is sincere. She answered that she would never. Just as Prince Carlisle said, the rumors spread like wildfire in Pervaz Castle. Cecilia also heard the news and was angry at Asha since she didn't even look at Carlisle when they had dinner. Her maid said that she maybe used some aphrodisiac, while Cecilia learned that Carlisle was quite drunk that day and wondered if Asha really spent the night in Carlisle's room. While her maid revealed that she heard His Highness ordered her in there himself and told her to change into a revealing chemise, and they both lied in the same bed. Cecilia was struck to hear this, thinking it was not part of her plan, questioning what Prince Carlisle was thinking. Her maid calms her down by saying that Carlisle would not take Asha as his real wife because she only has fighting skills, but Cecilia corrects her that Asha is highly trusted by the people of the territory and that's something that can't be achieved over. But that doesn't mean she can become the Empress, since she was still superior to be the Empress. At the Carlisle office, Lionel asked about the rumor spreading and confirmed if it's true he spent the night with Asha Pervaz. He confirmed that it was what happened, while the two were very shocked to know the truth. Lionel asked if he was drunk, but Carlisle explained that he was quite drunk. Lionel then realized he wasn't drunk and did it with Asha Pervaz. Carlisle noticed Lord Giles was thinking, so he told Lionel it was awkward to explain the circumstances of his bedroom. Carlisle thought of explaining the whole story when his teacher leaves. He wonders how the atmosphere of the castle will change. The harvest festival ended, while Pervaz's mood was different from before. Carlisle asked to call for Asha, while the maid started calling Asha Her Highness, which makes Carlisle laugh seeing the change of attitude from his servant, even though he didn't ask them to call Asha Her Highness. Asha shy away, learning how the servant treated her differently, while Carlisle noticed also how he won some points with people by using the Pervaz surname. Everyone was fussing about Asha becoming the real Empress. Asha asks if they can really deceive the Empress by doing that, while Carlisle doubts it, but the Empress has no choice but to believe it if they continue showing their marital relationship. Asha was worried she would have to endure such embarrassment for a longer time, but the problem is some of her people believed to the point of giving their best not knowing they were just pretending to have a good marital relationship. A few days later, it was the day when her portrait would be drawn. She apologized for coming late as she took time to get ready while Carlisle praised her maid's dedicated skills to make her more beautiful. Asha told him that she was the same as always and thought about Carlisle, the beautiful one, instead. Meanwhile, in the Imperial Palace, the Empress invited Viviana Lowry to her tea party. She's sure she called her to embarrass her. One of the noble lazy asked the sudden appearance of Lady Lowry as it isn't a suitable place for mistress. She wondered if the lady was mocking her with the remarks about coming while a certain lady asked her about her age. Lady Lowry answered she was 25. Another lady told her that she was the same age as her daughter. She was thinking what's wrong fooling around with the Emperor who's about the same age as her father, and caming herself about having a child will make them crawl their feet towards her. One lady asked Lady Lowry wishing for a child even at a late age. She became furious about her remarks while the Empress butt in telling the other lady to avoid making such remarks after all. Lady Lowry is the Emperor's favorite concubine, causing her to put effort into having a child for him. The Empress asked Lady Lowry to not misunderstand Lady Tellin and generously forgive her. She agreed, thinking if the Empress is being sincere, and were glad that the Empress is also wishing for her pregnancy. The nobles' ladies were surprised by her statement, while Lady Lowry promised to give her best effort into having a son. The Empress laughed so hard after remembering what Lady Lowry told her, and was glad that she showed to other noble ladies she's not keeping Viviana in check, taking their sympathy towards her, and was planning to do bigger so she can bite Carlisle as well. Meanwhile at Pervaz, Fabien Rusco was introduced as one of the 5 best artists in the Empire. He told them that he will sketch a few compositions to find the ones that suit both of them the most. Only then will the love of them be shown. Carlisle stated how he is going to do that when it doesn't even exist. They both posed to be drawn while Asha was thinking to reciprocate the artist's passion. The artist felt awkward and uncomfortable while Carlisle asked Asha, having looked half dead when all she did was sit still. Asha feels uncomfortable with someone looking at her intently. Carlisle told her he can't relate as he has been in front of the public's eyes since he was born. But he revealed that he knows how it's uncomfortable and it must have been difficult for her. Asha was surprised he was sympathetic with her. 2 months later, winter came in Pervaz. Asha feels amazing looking at her people who airs smiling because there were times during the war where many children and old people were frozen to death, while many people had their hands and feet cut off due to frostbite. Carlisle calms her down and takes it easy. She then realizes how fortunate and thankful she is with the prince. She promises no matter how much he's going to ask for payback, she will comply with it. Carlisle revealed that in Gyro, December is the most exciting part of the year since they were commemorating the end of the year and celebrating the start of the year. Asha asks how they commemorate. Carlisle answers that they invite close friends over and host a party while enjoying delicious foods and exchanging gifts. Carlisle grabs the gift that he prepared for her and gives it to Asha. Asha asked about the thing Carlisle gave her while he explained that it was a gift for her. She opened it and saw a beautiful necklace. Carlisle took it from her and wore it on her neck. He explained that it will save her life in the future, and Asha thanked him for the gift. A dove went to Cecilia with a message attached to it, showing that there is a rumor in the social circle that Carlisle is going to summon the demon Karakesh. The basis of this is Chapter 4 of the book Hammark, and the Empress is using it for her advantage. Cecilia was wondering if there's someone out there that actually believes that and plans to let Carlisle know about it. Carlisle received and read the letter asking it is really him that was mentioned in the letter who summoned a beast. Cecilia explained that there is Chapter 4 in Hammark where it says that the only way to summon demons is to sacrifice 100 people and put 10 temples on fire, and you must be a person who has no god to serve. Lord Giles can't believe there were a bunch of ungrateful people, while Cecilia explained that there weren't a lot of people who believe it, but it can't help. Carlyle believes this how Matthias plans to take advantage of his fame and paint himself as an angel. He asked his teacher what they should do. Lord Giles suggested to make an event that will prove Carlyle is irreplaceable. The Crown Prince believe he is only irreplaceable in the battlefield, but Lord Giles explained that most people would think that. Carlyle asked if he is suggesting that they were going to declare war on southern regions on purpose. Lionel asked if it was possible. Carlyle disagrees with the plan because it's the job of Crown Prince to protect the lives of his people and not to abuse his power and put the whole country at risk. Lord Giles agrees with Carlyle. He wasn't trying to say to declare war on purpose, but just implying that it would benefit them if such an incident were to happen. He then suggested to think of different options. Carlyle thanked Cecilia for the information she gave. She welcomed him and agreed to call for her for any personal reasons. Cecilia thought that Carlyle had a surprisingly weak side to him and thought of declaring a war wasn't a bad plan. She was hoping that Carlyle realized the meaning behind when she said to call her for personal reasons. A few days later, Lionel reported that there were fights within their guards. It started in the gymnasium of Pervaz when the Pervaz warriors shoveled the ice and some arrogant knights of Carlyle commanded them to shovel their place too. They disagreed, but the knights told them that if weren't for them, the barbarian would have attacked them already. They also added to be shameful by returning the favor. Pervaz warriors insist that if they have fallen, then they won't be safe either. The knights were insulted and grabbed Pervaz warriors that started the big fight. Lionel explained that the guards would cause the most trouble and Carlyle is the only person they listen to and act like everyone is worthless other than him. Carlyle becomes worried it would reach Asha's ears while Lionel suggested to request a visit to her, but Carlyle resisted the notion because of pride. But Lionel reminded him that if Asha Pervaz comes to see him first, it would be the same atmosphere as when they were disciplining the servants and he was creeped out. Carlyle remembered it and asked him to request a visit so there were no misunderstandings. Asha came, while Carlyle admitted that his guards were the ones to start the fight and apologized on their behalf. Asha gladly accepted his apology. He also apologized for the vulgar languages of his knights, yet Asha thanked him for admitting. Telling them to get along won't solve the problem either, but Lionel recommended training them together in the future. The two heirs surprised to hear it. Asha told him that they will fight more while Carlyle was concerned with his pride to be scratched. Asha agreed to him, but Carlyle asked her if she wants to imply that the Pervaz army is stronger and better than his. Asha explained that if it's army to army, there's no doubt they will lose, but if it's one-on-one combat, she was confident they won't lose. Carlyle asked if she's serious while Asha didn't back down. Lionel mediated between them and reminded them they want to help the knights and warriors to become close through training. Pervaz warriors and Carlyle knights were called for a meeting. They saluted their respective commander, while Carlyle was surprised how the Pervaz warriors saluted Asha. Carlyle explained that they will start training together on that day. They were shocked to hear it, but Carlyle explained that if Pervaz army were to disappear, then they will be at a disadvantage. The knights smile, worried Asha, thinking the backlash will be severe, until Carlyle announced that the system of training will be based in Pervaz methods and add some useful methods from their ways. One knight object claiming they weren't a proper army in the first place and should use their advanced way, but Carlyle asked him if they know more about savage tribes than the Pervaz guards. Another knight told him that no war starts with knowing the enemy by heart, but Carlyle mentioned that if the enemy is in their common sense line, the barbarian fight individually without any strategy and they keep using their complex chain of command, they will be stabbed at the back. Asha told him that if she were their commander, they wouldn't have agreed so easily, while Carlyle explained that it should be the one with more knowledge of the opponent who should have the authority. Carlyle noticed Sir Solon and asked to duel with him to take revenge since he was annoyed with him. They spar incredibly while Sir Solon loses the fight. The knights and warriors saw them and be happy seeing them spar. Decker was glad Carlyle closed the big gap at least a little bit, while Asha agreed. That night, Decker and Asha were checking the documents when he asked Asha if she's fine. Asha answered him that she didn't know while Decker is also not sure, but he doesn't think that things could go wrong. Asha was worried that there's nothing granting them that it won't happen and unexpected things could happen any moment. But Decker insisted on knowing her true feelings, but Asha can't explain what's wrong with her lately, while Decker asked if it is because of Prince Carlisle, and asked if he did hurt her pride. Asha was shocked to hear the word while Decker insisted on telling him the truth. Asha explained that she was happy Pervaz is developing, but she wishes she could have achieved it on her own because even if she wasn't there, with the help of Prince Carlisle, Pervaz would still stand. Decker asked why she would think that way and reminded her how horrible things were in Pervaz after returning from the battlefield. She is the reason they were surviving because they allow them to sell Asha. Even if it's a contractual marriage, it's as if they traded her for the life of others. If it wasn't for her, many people would have died during winter. Decker was crying, explaining that Asha was their only savior and the only lord they will serve, not Prince Carlisle. Asha sobered up and thanked Decker, reminding herself that she's the only one who would put her life on line to defend Pervaz. A month later, Asha saw something on the binoculars, while Carlisle confirmed that there's something going on. Carlisle saw a bigger wagon while Asha speculated it was made of bones. They weren't sure if it's the Igram tribes, but they might be trying to form a powerful alliance and they can't build such complicated structures. Carlisle asked her what to do until they heard voices that the barbarians were attacking. They saw the barbarians attacking using trebuchets. She asked her men while they confirmed that it was the Igram tribes, but this time in a bigger number with an estimated number of 2,000. Asha was worried they had surpassed their cavalry and decided to ask for Carlisle's help. Asha will take any consequences no matter what, they just want to get Carlisle help. He explained that if the army of Pervaz was annihilated, they would be of disadvantage and explained that they needed to fight for this war. He told Asha that she might think H is arrogant, but she is also arrogant for trying to protect Pervaz by herself. Asha was ashamed, but she is Pervaz's savior. If she doesn't accept any consequences, she won't be the person who saved Pervaz anymore. Carlisle seemed to understand what Asha was thinking and told her if she really would like to pay him back, he will take it later. Looking at the Igram tribes, they seemed to have a plan, but Asha cleared that there's no way those guys would have access to that much accessories. Carlisle speculated that they got support from the outside, a person who uses their money endlessly and fans the flames of aggression for the Igram tribe. Asha realized that the Empress was involved and Pervaz was in danger. Carlisle asked if she was scared, but Asha explained she was quite angry, but she's not sure if their guards are able to team up and fight against them. Carlisle told her that they seemed to become close and commanded them with their respective positions in the battle. The battle started where Asha and Carlisle were positioned up front. Clashing of swords and splashing of blood will be heard from them. Carlisle compliments Asha for slashing the enemy side by side, feeling glad he was able to entrust his back to someone. Their guards noticed their teamwork and helped each other eliminate the enemies while having each other's back. The artist was watching them through the binoculars, seeing Prince Carlisle stand out so much while Asha was beside him. He realized they're moving as if they've become one, and an idea pepped out in his mind. He took his canvas and pencil, feeling that this artwork will become the best he's ever made. The barbarians were angry with someone who didn't mention anything about that. They realized that they were used and are going to curse them. Asha heard their conversation and told Carlisle that the Igram doesn't seem like they started the war on purpose, and mentioned that they have to finish them off so they won't crawl ever again, while Carlisle likes this side of Asha. They surrounded the remaining enemies and finna-head them off, but Carlisle had some weird feelings seeing them to give their own lives like this. He was surprised to see one of them change his eye color and start enchanting words he didn't understand. Asha attacked the enemies in front of Carlisle and asked her if she noticed the man doing it, but Asha answered she didn't know since she never heard barbarians speak their own language. Carlisle remembered something similar when he heard the languages they speak, which are similar to those magicians. One man is trying to attack him at the back when Asha saved him and told him not to doze off while he explained he was thinking about those words. Asha told him to focus since they will die anyway. Carlisle closed his eyes, thinking he was acting weird because it's been a while since he killed a person. Otherwise, he won't be thinking that Asha is pretty. He called Asha to finish the remaining enemies, and the war ended until sunset, when they only saw each other and felt the victory. They approached each other and kissed passionately. On the other hand, High Priest Gabriel was trembling that his men lost. Even though he helped that much, they should have at least scratched Carlyle. He noticed the pain whenever his power and Carlyle collide is unpleasant, as if he was colliding with the power of God, making him feel like he's a demon's minion. After becoming a servant of God, he worked hard to set the empire straight, but there was an invisible wall of power within the temple. Those who don't have status, power and wealth could not remain in the capital. But one day, he saw the arrival of Prince Carlyle, which made people happy and excited. A boy was bumped by a big man, yet Prince Carlyle won't even glance at a kid that's fallen and still continues to pretend to care about his people. He came to the conclusion that he will become the future emperor. If someone like him becomes the emperor, their country will once again become full of arrogant and powerful people just because he is of royal blood. It would be nice if he had to stop that. He studied and read many books until he discovered a book without a title, only to find out it consists of black magic, which is a type of sorcery said to be banned from using. This led to him a trial given by God, the only way for him to be able to save the empire. Gabriel thought that using it is like making a huge sacrifice on behalf of everyone else. Rivado will understand him and forgive for his actions. This kind of act makes no sense for him, as he is a servant of God trying to rebuild the sacred empire as a devil's minion. This is only a process of fulfilling one's duty as a servant of God. He was able to take the barbarians' lives, which he connected to the magic circle if they didn't kill Carlyle. However, it seems that the amount of life forces filled is small compared to the number of people who died. He heard that everything in the abandoned land is cursed and thought if these could be related. Gabriel speculated that to some it may be an abandoned land, but to others, it may be an unexplored land. Back to Pervaz, they were all constructing the damage because of war. Carlyle complimented Decker for his hard work and found out that people of Pervaz seemed to find compliments a bit awkward, while both of them didn't say a word of what happened on the battlefield, as if it was a promise they made. Carlyle recommended having a victory banquet, but Asha revealed they've never done something like that before since they didn't have much to drink and eat before. While Carlyle explained that is the case in the past, he will empty his pocket for the sake of everyone's hard work, and announced to everyone to get ready for a victory banquet. Asha and Carlyle guards were enjoying the banquetery. They even happily talked about the battle that shows they become close. Asha was relieved as they seemed to be getting along. Carlyle thought that this will serve a warning to the Empress. He was glad that both of their armies no longer get in trouble, and it seems that his relationship with Asha has gotten better as well. Carlyle remembered the kiss and wondered why he did it, and thought if Ash's come to like him. Asha cuts his thoughts by asking what he leaves in return, and she's willing to give anything to him within her power. Carlyle replied that it seems like he would just take back what he gave, but he teases Asha that there's one thing left that he can take and whispers it on Asha that he wants a woman. She was shocked and asked if he wanted a woman of Pervaz as his companion for the night. But Carlyle answered that there is no need for that as he already has a wife with him. Asha becomes more shocked while Carlyle is thinking that if they were able to come that far, she will stop thinking about any other reward. But to his surprise, Asha agreed while he explained that it was only a joke. Asha insisted she would pay the price. Instead of endangering Pervaz, this might be the easiest way to pay him. Asha asked if it's fine if it's tonight. Carlyle was speechless and told her he will be looking forward to it. She was thinking that without putting a burden on Pervaz, she can repay His Highness on her own, rather than continuing her feeling of unease within her heart. Nina helped her prepare for the night and asked her to act as if she didn't know while Nina agreed. While waiting, Carlyle was thinking how he should regard Asha properly. He told her to enter and smelled the oil he gave her, feeling angry of her being persistent to really do it. No matter how she appears, there's no way he's going to accept this kind of payment. Asha's gorgeous appearance leaves him speechless. He was planning to tease her a bit and then send her back, but he seems to have changed his mind. He becomes excited and pretends he's just tipsy and wants to call it a night. Asha immediately removes her robe to get ready, making Carlisle more attracted to her, causing him to approach her, but asked Asha if he would sympathize with that kind of appearance, calling it ridiculous. He thought of saying this so she'll leave and demotivate. Asha grabbed his arm and kissed his hand, causing him to blush, while Asha apologized for what to do since she didn't have any experience, thinking if he didn't like it. Carlisle called her attention, but she went on his bed while asking to lie down together. He questioned if she was doing it on purpose to embarrass him. Asha was surprised while he continued, saying she was acting strange. Asha revealed that she knows that dressing like that doesn't suit her, but Carlisle objects strongly and points out it was her behavior that is strange. He explained that he doesn't dislike her while Asha grabs Carlisle and takes him down on the bed. She questions Carlisle not hating her but keeps rejecting her. Carlisle doesn't know what to say anymore until Asha conquered his lips passionately while he reciprocated her effort. He flipped and hugged her, asking if she was nervous. Asha revealed that it was her first time and asked to lead her well. Carlisle told her that it was the same for him. Asha told him to tell her anything he wants, whatever it might be, she'll do her best. She also added if this price she can pay, then that's fine. Carlisle stopped and cleared that if she's doing it in return for the help in battle, then they should stop, but if she genuinely wants him, he will proceed. Asha doesn't know if she's doing it just to pay or she really wants him. Carlisle sadly revealed that she really doesn't want him, but was surprised when Asha held him, telling him she really didn't know, but she wanted him to hug her. With this statement, Carlisle didn't hold anymore. The next morning, Asha woke up early, rewinding what happened last night, especially Carlisle's statement that he won't stop if she really wants him. She slapped herself, thinking that it was only temporary and treats other women nicely too. She told herself that there's no way she actually wants him because this is only a contract marriage. Carlisle woke up finding Asha and asked self if he should ask her to have lunch with him and wonders if she's upset with him. He felt an unexpected happiness after spending the night with her. He wondered if she'll let him kiss her on the cheek when they meet. This question was answered immediately after Asha's arrival. He was surprised by her usual facial expression. Asha asked him if something was bothering him while Carlisle answered if she had no idea it might be. She questions if something unpleasant happens at the banquet, but he answered that there was a woman who wanted to spend the night with him. Asha answered that it's unfortunate that he missed the opportunity because of her. Carlisle was frustrated, thinking if she actually did not know or just pretended, and wondered how she could act as if nothing happened last night. Carlisle mentioned Dorothea and Cecilia to have dinner with them. Asha agreed while Carlisle asked if she's fine with it and didn't have anything else to say. He became disappointed with Asha's insensitive behavior and told her to decide herself if she will attend the dinner. That night, Carlisle thought that Asha would dress up a little for the two ladies. Cecilia told her that it must not be easy to wield a sword with a woman's body and asked if she wasn't afraid. Asha answered her that it's better to wield a sword than sit still until she awaits her death. Cecilia added that the battle must have been easy since Prince Carlisle was in overall command, and the battle towards the Lure tribe wouldn't take long if Carlisle was present. Carlisle was thinking how could she say something to someone who held the war since she had yet to see Asha fight in person. Asha agreed and told her in a loud voice that if Pervaz was Carlisle's first war, it would have been so much better. Carlisle cleared that the barbarians attacked Pervaz at the instigation of the Empress and Flaytl bad to say it in front of Asha and revealed that there was no single time during the battle that he thought he would lose because there was someone he could trust his back with. Carlisle takes the opportunity to thank Ash while she also thanks him. Cecilia became bitter after hearing this. The two ladies thanked Carlisle for inviting them, while he asked Asha if she was going downstairs and replied that she wanted to get some fresh air. Asha was bothered trying to act normal, but she felt unnatural and foolish doing it. She questions herself for being self-conscious around Carlisle and felt bothered after knowing that he didn't say a single bad thing to the two ladies. Comparing those two from her, They were born from a prestigious family where they developed their ability to lead the social circles and expand their knowledge where they could debate upon the nation's future with the emperor. She now understands the reason everyone expressed their shock at the marriage between her and Carlisle. Asha feels frustrated knowing that the crown princess position doesn't suit her and remembers Carlisle's good statement to her. Asha finally realized that it is when she started going mad having such foolish thoughts and attempted to hurt herself. Decker saw and sped her. He asked for the reason of harming herself, but she insisted it's nothing to be concerned about. Decker asked if she had gone crazy, but Asha admitted it and wanted to dig through her thoughts because her thoughts inside her head are much more terrible. Decker questions what happened and tells him what makes her suffer because he is always on her side. She refused to tell him since it isn't something that he can help her. Decker reminded her if it gets too hard, promise him she will come speak to him and don't do stupid things. Asha agreed and calmed him down. Carlisle was listening to them since he followed Asha to console her, but he was angry seeing them as a joke saying they're just friends after acting like that. He now understands the reason Asha acted like that today, since she had to bed with a man other than her lover. A few days later, Carlisle announced that he must visit Gyro to announce their victory as it falls under the duties for the Empire to make a report. Lord Giles added that they need to check the well-being of the Empress and Matthias also. Carlisle told him that they can overturn the social circle's point of view as well as to give a warning to the Order of Elahai. Carlisle requested Lord Raffald to accompany him, while Asha recommended Decker to bring with him to show to the public that he earned the favor of the Pervaz family. He told her that she really trusts Sir Donovan a lot while Asha explained that he is her family and he will never betray him. Carlisle imagined that they knew each other when she was little and there's no doubt Decker would not betray the woman he loves. Lionel agreed to Asha while Carlisle said that he knows. She also added to bring good-looking warriors with him. He told Asha that she looks smart whenever it comes to these kids of situations and told her to use her smart brains regularly. She told him that she already took a lot from him, but Carlisle told her she didn't take that much. He wondered how she can have no greed at all, as if she's always ready to leave. Carlisle told him to have some more greed, but Asha was worried if he found out what she really wanted. The news of Carlisle coming to Gyro reached the Empress ears while she tried so hard to create a negative impression of him. Prince Matthias burst into the room reporting Carlisle's arrival and take the chance to trap him to matter what so he can go to the battlefield instead of him. The Empress asked him sarcastically if he wants to give Carlisle the authority to command others is the same as accepting him as a prince. Matthias was not listening and insisted on telling the Emperor. The Empress slapped him so hard and told him she's been lenient with him these days. She exclaims if Carlisle will stay, he will continue in his shadow no matter what. The Empress reassured him that she will protect him while Matthias told her he was afraid of monsters and wars during his military class. The Empress promises him that he doesn't need to take the class and will never be on the battlefield while Matthias agrees obediently. The Empress inquired about the drug, Durtoxin, which has side effects of having psychological problems if talked in large amounts. She concluded that someone won't die after taking it and asked to give it to Prince Matthias from today. A few days later, Carlisle Group had reached Gyro where he smelled the foul scent of betrayal and conspiracy. When he left this place a year ago, the only thing he thought was to get revenge. But maybe he changed because he saw Asha trying so hard to revive her kingdom. He realized that there will be a lot of work waiting for him when he becomes the emperor. In front of the emperor, he shared the news of his other victory while the emperor heard he defeated the barbarians in Pervaz. Carlisle explained that he secured both Pervaz by annihilating the Igram tribes and thanked the emperor for helping him reflect thanks to his insights. The emperor became proud of him while Carlisle asked to have a victory banquet and the emperor immediately organized a victory banquet. The Empress' angry face showed how much he had him and wondered what happened to Pervaz for him to change so much and come back to the capital. Carlisle asked Decker if he noticed many women staring at him. Decker revealed that he was uncomfortable and that they seemed dissatisfied with them. Carlyle was dumbfounded by Decker's innocence and suggested not to follow those women, and no matter how unbearable it is, he has to hold on, at least do it for his leader. He was amazed by his pathetic love. He would do anything for his leader, Asha Pervaz. Lord Giles told Carlyle to start their plan when Count Duppert approached them to express his worried face about the dangerous battle they face and how the Agram tribe was extremely prepared. Carlyle agreed and added they were even using catapults. Count Duppert asked how they could have the resources to make a catapult. Carlyle reminded him that there were many ears everywhere while many nobles were listening to them. Count Duppert inquired about what he heard about the barbarians having access to an outside force during their war in Pervaz, and asked who on earth would team up with barbarians and who would benefit from invading Pervaz. The Empress and Prince Matthias heirs also listening while many nobles have their own opinions about Carlyle going to Pervaz after accepting the marriage. They also talked about the monster in the southern region where the army went without Matthias. Until the opinions went to Asha not attending the banquet since they are certain they will divorce after 2 years. Carlyle thought that if the word spread that he was getting divorced, everyone would try to marry him off to their daughter, but he already has Count Duppert and his teacher's daughter lined up, which doesn't mean he's attracted to them, but he can't just choose whoever he wants to become the crown princess while thinking Asha. He shook his head and reminded himself to focus on business instead of thinking such nonsense. Carlyle told Lord Giles to select a few families with an army that they will accept invitations. Back to Pervaz, Asha was wondering if Carlyle has changed the public opinion by now. He also needs to investigate the temple and shrine and gain more power by using the nobles. They also need to keep the Empress in check, wondering how a family heartlessly points their swords at each other. Lionel requested Asha to get some rest while she asked if he was worried about her since the first time they met. He finds them untrustworthy. Lionel explained that it was a long time ago and found Carlyle and Asha similar since they both are incredibly crazy. He added that she looks like someone who could disappear at any time, which is why Prince Carlyle told her to be more greedy. Asha answered that she will not let go of Pervaz until she dies. Lionel scolded her and asked where her personal happiness was in the sentence she said, but she revealed that she is happy and couldn't ask for more. Lionel asked her if she once truly wanted something, she will be able to reach it. Asha thinks that it was absurd to reach something she can't get, but still, she thanks Lionel for his motivating words while hoping her feelings would disappear faster. Dorothea was looking for a library when someone asked her identity. She looked at her back and was relieved it was Asha and explained that she was looking for the library. Asha hesitated but still guided her to the library. Dorothea finds the library with few books but still clean. Asha apologized for few books she can offer, but Dorothea was still happy and thanked Asha for taking her to the library. While reading, she realized that when she becomes the Empress, she won't be able to keep living such a relaxed and carefree life. In that case, maybe she would rather live in Pervaz forever. Meanwhile, it's been a week since Prince Carlyle arrived at the capital. The public view of the nobles started to change considerably compared to before. Carlyle realized how nobles change their mind frequently, and this situation will not last long in his favor. Because of that, he needs to find any source of bad rumors and shut it himself. He visited Archbishop Radchel and asked if he supervises every temple in the capital. The Archbishop explains that there is one other bishop who is currently staying at the main temple. Carlyle told him that malicious rumors about him were being spread around by those temples. The Archbishop disagreed while Carlyle had confirmed the information and he didn't need to act like he didn't know. He was curious about him and the High Church and how far is he involved with Gabriel Knox, but the Archbishop told him that Gabriel is the most diligent believer in their religion. Carlyle rephrases his questions and asks if the High Church genuinely pretends to go against the royal family. For Carlyle, it's pretty clear that Gabriel has decided to do that. That's why Gabriel has been trying to get more power by creating new political positions for his benefit. The Archbishop tried to defend Gabriel but was speechless with Carlyle's statement. The Archbishop explained that they have thus always strived for prosperity and well-being of the imperial family and never intended to disrespect him. Carlyle cleared that the profane acts were done only by Gabriel on his own and asked if he should receive punishment for his actions. A few days later, Carlyle compliments the food while the Emperor insulted Pervaz for serving him grass roots. Carlyle agreed that everything Pervaz served him were mere grass roots. The Empress congratulated Carlyle and asked him to come back to the capital for the time being, but Carlyle explained that Pervaz is not completely safe since they haven't identified the accomplice of the Igram tribes in the last attack. The Emperor was shocked to know the truth and asked if the barbarian didn't act on their own. Carlyle answered that there were few things that happened during the battle, but it was hard to gather information on his own. He asks the Emperor to lend him his wisdom and visit his room after eating. The Emperor was surprised and accepted him to give his help while the Empress was furious hearing it. Carlyle visited his father and explained that the church has been interfering way too much with the imperial family and asked if he's fine with that. He also added that they wanted to create a new holiday and reminded him that their allied kingdoms were suppressed by the High Church in the past. The Emperor became furious while hearing that the church is way too established and recognized to the point it has started to get corrupted with a huge hunger for power. The Emperor thanked him for telling him that information. Carlyle hopes the Emperor thinks that someone is playing with him as puppet and he should focus now on Gabriel. Gabriel Knox was furious at Carlyle for making all his hard work go to waste and started enchanting causing his pet to die, while didn't care. He suddenly snapped out of what he just did. He started to feel as if he wasn't himself anymore since he started to use black magic. At this rate, he won't be any different from those nobles he hated and calmed down, planning to make Carlyle to be his perfect sacrifice for the Empire's future.